I don't see why we can't put through a whole entire system, which obviously is all 90 degrees. You could be done and dusted within 3 to 4 weeks.
G'day guys, welcome to the MTDC Lounge. This is a podcast that breaks down everything you need to know about designing and building your ultimate home and what to expect. Whether you're a DIY renovator, a budding developer, or everything in between, we'll dive into the building journey, touching on what to expect, what's next, and how to go about it. We'll hear from a heap of experienced consultants and trades about all aspects. So let's get stuck in. Welcome to the Lounge. G'day guys, and welcome to another episode of the MTDC Lounge. Tonight we've got James from Gablok. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Actually got a bit stunned by the weather today. It's probably like 10 degrees hotter up here than it is in Sydney. Yeah.
It's getting pretty hot at the moment. It's pretty wild. But that's a really great segue into, I guess, your product.
Yeah.
You're trying to introduce this new product into Australia, and really, I've read about it. I've seen it all over the websites and things like that. I had to jump in and say g'day, and I guess give you the opportunity to tell me what it's about so we can break it down and see how it's going to influence, I guess, the construction world in Australia.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
So your product's called Gablok,
Yep.
and essentially it's a Lego type product, I guess, and it came from
Belgium,
didn't it?
Yeah.
You're the man to talk to me about it. How does it go?
Yeah, so I guess 3-4 years ago, I was walking down the street with my daughter, and she pointed to a house and said, "Oh, Daddy, could we live there?" And I looked at this house that was like a stunning suburb, probably dual garage, driveway, everything, all bells and whistles, and thought, yeah, that's probably like $5 million.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen. But I kind of stopped and thought for a moment. It's like, well, realistically, we just got to build it. Got to start. So I went on a massive hunt to try and find systems online that can help novices like me who know absolutely diddly squat about building. And I stumbled across Gablok after looking for a few months about SIP systems, integrating panel systems, Chinese panel systems, System 3 blocking systems, and I suddenly went, I don't reckon that's going to work in Australia because, I think we kind of love wood down here more than we love concrete. So I found Gablok Australia, jumped on board, and maybe like people have seen it. There's a wonderful video of how it, I guess, simplifies the building process of a house. And I fell in love with it so much that I was like, right, flew straight to Belgium, met the founders, Simon and Gabrielle, and thought, oh my gosh, this is it. This is how you build a house. It's just like you said, adult Lego. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah. So there's so much to build on it. It's pretty incredible. So it's got a locking system, and basically you've got different size blocks, and they can half the blocks and things like that. And you basically press them on, you link them in, and you just go as high and as wide as you need them to.
Yeah, that's right. Like, the main, I guess, compositing of the 8 objects is, as you've stated, like a Lego block. And then their dimensions are like 300, 300, 300 for your simple square.
Yeah.
And then if you just go with the length, so it's 300, 300, 600, then 900, 1200. And that's basically your building blocks. And then we have what we call the running block. For those in the industry would obviously use their concrete slab, and then your running block goes on top of your raised lip, where you would obviously just put your standard timber frame or your bricking. So our running blocks sit over the top of that, and then you gradually build your walls up, just exactly like Lego.
So so when you've done the wall, how does it finish? I mean, would you have your standard header courses and things like that? Like how do you start the base, and how would it finish, and how would that integrate, and I guess build the floor?
Yeah. So what I like to, I'll try and make a picture in everyone's mind. So your concrete slab or timber frame's ready to go. If I took an aspect of the concrete frame first, your exterior walls would have its raised lip of about 150 millimeter, which obviously is then going to have all your damp course laid on top. And then what we do is put the mounting plank, which is just a standard pine plank, or any board that you want to use, or that your compositing board. That's what we're talking to Reg about.
Yep.
And then your first base block, because it's 300 by 300, sits over the top of it nice and snug. And if you imagine your Lego brick, but both ends have just a slight arch, and that's what sits perfectly over the edge of the rail. And that's what we class as the rail block. And then your EPS membrane blocks get pushed down inside, and then just do your run of the wall. And then when you come to the corner, you just mount in the opposite direction. So we're only good for 90 degrees. So if anyone wants...
At the moment, yeah. We'll work on it. Yeah.
We'll change it at some point.
Yeah. So, okay. So when you're building this wall structure, there's no framing that's required. There's no, I guess, like in danger of saying, there's almost no need for a trade, I guess, is there? So obviously you know what you're doing, but obviously you need to know what you're doing. But I mean, at the end of the day, anyone with a bit of supervision and a little bit of help could help put these blocks down. They could, they could do it almost themselves.
Like if anyone's into Technics Lego, obviously that's probably like the next bracket up from your standard Lego or baby Lego. Technics Lego comes with a beautiful map and plan. It's like, I need the orange bit and I need the blue bit and I need the 24 square bit, Well, this works exactly the same way. So once you've done all your ground blocks, they're not very heavy. They're like 7 to 8 kilos per block. So it's not going to put your back out. So anyone that can lift 7 to 8 kilos and plonk it in a straight line is good to go. Yeah. Literally good to go. So like you said, if a family were looking at, selling a house that they're in due to mortgage stress or something like that, you can buy your land, do your concrete slab and be building like as soon as that's cured and ready to go. So your base floor, if you're good at following Lego plans, like Technics Lego, really a family could knock it out in a day.
In a day?
Yeah.
That's incredible. So that's how quick. I mean, you say a day, a whole family, but I mean, if you've got...
the day for the running blocks.
Right.
Sorry,
okay.
All the walls,
But I mean, but even a day, just even running, like doing the running blocks or even starting your flooring system and your walling system is incredible. I mean, having something done in a day, in any term for the construction industry is incredible. So how often, or I mean, I see through your website and I've read a bunch of it, but how clear is this promise of having a house done within the week? Is that a goal, or is that actually is that a dream?
Yeah, so we're going to test ourselves here in Sydney a lot more stringent and strict than we did in Europe. So I'm looking to get standard, say 350, 400 square meter homes. So that's ground floor, first floor, with a team. So 3 or 4 of us. So grown professionals, like a carpenter. So there's no ifs or buts. It's like we can lay it out. I don't see why we can't put through a whole entire system, which obviously is all 90 degrees. You could be done and dusted within 3 to 4 weeks.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so you would be, first floor would be in there and done, and you'd be waiting for your roof to come. And we were just talking to some big roofers, and they were like, oh yeah, if you order your roof today, it will come in about 6 to 8 weeks. So if anyone hears this podcast and wants to build their house, order your roof first and then come to us, because the likelihood is the traction will be pretty quick.
Well, the good news about that is that you're working on it. So you've got a background in coding, so you're all across it. So on your website, you're actually currently working on on a way to, I guess, generate a floor plan situation.
Yeah.
And I guess that would give the opportunity for the client or the potential client to do a design. It would get checked by the designers and all the bits and pieces, all the compliance. But essentially, if they've got an approved plan that's been through council and done all the things that it should do, they could send that plan off because it's not going to vary much, if at all.
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody could get the plans, get approved, give it to the council, get it to order, and then at the same time, because I think we had an earlier chat today, that there's no system in place for, I guess, the roofing structure at the moment. But in saying that, we can palm it off to the truss guys and get it all ripped in.
That's right.
Which would be fantastic. So a few of the curlier questions, and I'm sure some of the tradies will probably be listening to this one and be like, what about the waterproofing? What about the plumbing? What about the electrical work?
Yep.
It's all good to run a wall, but what about this? So what about it?
Yeah, what about the real detail?
Yeah, what about the problems? Yeah.
So the greatest thing about Gablok is it is designed to help anyone. So if there are builders, full-on brickies, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, it's just adding a suite to their arsenal. So all of a sudden, a plumber is a trained plumber and he's qualified and does plumbing to the best of his degree. But if he picked up the Gablok system, he can now build a house because it's very, very, very simple. So in all purposes said, all services are run on the inside of a wall. So dependent on cost and what people wish to do, you don't have to do chip rock on the inside to obviously make everything beautiful. You could just paint Gablok walls. And then run the services. So we've had someone in Europe give their services on oversized copper piping. So they run their hot and cold through copper piping, and then they run a load of their electrical and data through copper piping. I know that sounds crazy, but when I actually went to the house, it looked elegant, like super elegant, because they just had beautiful copper pipes running everywhere around the house. So they kind of turned it into a feature. But we have done other houses where it's just standard, run up on the walls and then covered once it's battened, and you put your chipboard on, and it's exactly the same as any standard electric socket, or when you're going to the kitchen for your hot and cold water. So you still need your expertise trades to plug a boiler in. That hasn't changed at all. And you still need your expertise for, running all the electrics and data cables. So the only difference really with Gablok is instead of mounting it into the wall like you would do with your timber studs, you're just running it on the wall.
On the outside. Yeah. So basically you'd be either trying to make it a feature of the cables and all your bits and pieces, or you'd be trying to box it out, or you'd be running like a services void or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Like you said, you could box it off in a way to kind of mirror the walls. And that's like you say, in the temperament of cost. If someone's going for that very, very high-end luxury finish where you can have picture rails, data rails, board rails, and you're going to do two-tone color splits, pushing all the services behind the walls probably the best idea instead of boxing them off.
So sorry, did you say that you could install them? You can't install them into the system.
Not into the wall, but I guess when I said into the wall, it's like if you're running it on the fascia of the Gablok, and then you have your beading, and then obviously your chip rock goes over the top of that, so it's all hidden. Yes,
yeah. Okay, and I think that would work, and you could hide the services quite comfortably inside that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay, and I mean, we've spoken about 10 degrees down in Sydney, lighter, heaps hotter up here. You go north, you go south. There's such a I guess a range of weather that we have to deal with here in Australia. Like how does Gablok I guess propose to deal with, I guess, the heat that comes with Australian summers and I guess the cold that comes with the Victorian snowfields?
True. So the greatest thing that I think the Gablok team, because obviously it's not my ingenuity, it's 11 years of them engineering it through weather climates in the whole of Europe. So the Gablok itself is an 18mm OSB board that's obviously been treated for termites. It's been treated for flame retardant glues to make sure it has a bit more lifespan. But inside are the grey blocks. If you've seen the video, they're an EPS flame retardant structure. So it's pretty much polyurethane throughout, but it's been impregnated to not just melt at the touch of a button. Now, with that being said, its mirror copy would be like you're living inside an esky. So if you keep the house cool inside, it will stay cool. So you don't need to have over-extensive aircon because the outside heat and its thermodynamic values don't transfer through the wall, because you've got 18mm each side of OSB board. Then you've got a 264mm grey EPS block. So transfer of heat through the wall is practically nothing. It does have some degree of expansion, but really almost nothing.
G'day guys, just quickly, if you're finding this podcast info relevant to you, then I'd like to quickly talk to you about what we do at MT Design Collective. You hear us talk all the time about the importance of solid, detailed home design practices, so that you're not left with extra fees, delays or unexpected costs in building your ultimate home. Here at MTDC, we design homes and provide plans that builders love to build and councils love to approve. If you're looking at a renovation, a new build or alteration, then we'd love to help you work out the next steps forward. Book a free, no obligation chat with us and we'll come out to your site, as it's the only way to truly get authentic, no bullshit advice. Link is in the show notes. Okay, back to the show. So you said a lot of acronyms there, and knowing our audience, so OSB board is the particle boards, and basically it's all the rubbish that the leftover cuts, and they stick it all together and kind of glue it together. And your EPS panels are like what would you call it? It would be almost like foam.
It's like so they get baked or steam pressed into a 246 by 246 cube. And then if you're pretty good at math, obviously with the 18mm at either ends, that's how you build your Lego block. And those square grey cubes that you would have seen on the video, that's the EPS polyurethane blocks that they're treated. So it's not just a standard polyurethane that you would use in between your esky setup.
Well, it's a good picture to paint, because you'll have your OSB board on the outside, and they're basically the blocks, and then on the inside you've got your foam like EPS system that sits just inside it, and then that's just how it locks and stacks. So I think it's a wonderful product. I think absolutely it's going to have that opportunity to, I guess, evolve. And at the moment, I think it's important to note that we're still waiting to get code marked.
That's right. That's
right. And so, what does that mean for the guys?
So you've got to excuse my naivety on it all, because I was like learning this on the fly. So about a year and a half ago, when I realised, it's got to have Australian building standards. I went, right, what is that? So I looked it up, obviously all the code marks and engineering and basic submissions for certificates. So I just grabbed everything that I could get my hands on, sent it off to code marks for approval. And then they came back and said, okay, well, you're all good to go, but now we've got to come to your warehouse where you're actually producing the blocks. I was like, oh yeah, don't have a warehouse yet.
What can I?
Call me in 6 months. And that's where I've met you. So in that duration of time and picking up with Reg out in Borrell, that's pretty much going to be the first Australian production warehouse for Gablok blocks here. And then the Code Marks team will drive up. We might be actually producing blocks next week with Maya Timber, just to get a range of the compositing and routing of the boards, which we'll obviously will put together. So I'm hoping that possibly I might be able to bring forward the code mark certificate, so it'll all have Australian building standards. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, we had a brief chat, and the conversation can go on forever. But we had a brief chat about like its BASIX rating and how it will deal with the needs of the Australian interior spaces, and then we've also had a chat about, I guess, its fire safety, particularly again in Australia. So how far have you got, I guess, with identifying all of that kind of stuff, and what are the next steps for you in terms of the code marks and I guess even getting it out to the market, maybe even rolling it out?
Yeah, so my dream status was to reach FZ fire standard, which I think is the highest. I don't know the limitation on minutes that is. And reading through the standards, I didn't quite understand if the limitation is limited in the fact that, maybe I'm wrapping it in James Harding, or maybe I'm just cladding it in something different, whether that is incorporated into my timeline of my burn rate. Some say it is in code marks, and some say it isn't. So I'm hoping when code marks come up, they can clarify that with me. But I think the burn through rate we'll probably get to is around 60 minutes. Because from what I've heard when they've been talking to me, they come up and set the test, and it's to burn its way through both sets of the 18 millimeters, so the wall actually fails. I was like, okay, well, we're going to be here for quite some time. Because last time we tested it with a Bunsen burner, like one of the hand Bunsen burners, it took half an hour to just get through the first 18 millimeters.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And then when it hit the EPS kind of stayed and then just started going charcoal. And I guess if they want to burn it in a kind of straight hole, they've still got to get through the backside of the other 18 millimeter.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well...
You've got a couple of minutes, right? You got to be safe for a fair bit. So at the moment, everything's on people's minds. Housing crisis, cost of building, the cost of living, all these crazy things that are going on in the world at the moment. How do you think Gablok will actually help this situation on all fronts?
Yeah. So for me, I sold everything to put into this project. I got rid of everything. And as much as I cringe and bear the thought of everything going wrong, or not meeting yourself, or not meeting Reg, it's been a complete suicidal run, to be honest. But for anyone in Australia that wants to build, to me, who's a complete naive novice in this field, it's game changer. Because, when you set down the floor plan and for those that don't know, you pour your concrete and all the services are ready. So you've got your cap sewage and drains and stuff. Once you've got that section done by your preferred concrete supplier, running the walls is Lego. It's like you can do it in your board shorts on a hot sunny day and get a tan. And you can look back at the end of a day and maybe you get 2 blocks high, 3 blocks high. I don't know, it depends how hard you want to push yourself. But all of a sudden you can see people, maybe, you're not going to build a 2-story place. Maybe you're going to do something like a Queenslander. And you've got a team of 4 or 5 of you. You'd be out in, I don't know, like a week. Just running blocks everywhere.
Plan a party at the end of the week, right?
Yeah.
Just pool party and get it done.
And like I said, for everyone who's listening, even if you didn't want to do standard 90 millimeter stud walls in the house and you just want to use Gablok, you can. Obviously, those walls will be a lot thicker. But the way I like to think of it, or as we're doing with my house, is all the walls are Gablok. I was just like,
300 mil.
Might as well just have thick walls.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and this is going to be a tricky question because at the moment, because I understand there's obviously still a lot of stuff that we're trying to work out. But at the end of the day, can you put a figure on a house build, a standard maybe 240 house build?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really pushing what we can achieve by buying in bulk. So the shipping of the boards out of the forest in Germany, and the volume of shipping containers that we can pre-order. So we were just talking about that today on how many sheets, standard sheets we could put in a 40-foot container. And what we mathematically drew out was probably about, 20 houses per 40-foot container just on the Gablok walls.
That's incredible.
And when I broke it down to, if we excused labour, because we want families to take, the front foot, to not be squandering money on interests with banks, you could build in 4 weeks a 450 square metre home, what we class as Loctite, so no furniture, no soft furnishings. If you don't do triple glazed, or you did single or double glazed with roof, I think it's considerable that you could get a 450 square metre home completed for under $300,000.
That's absolutely unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. That's it's going to save a ton of money. Heartache's going to be so much. You're going to and I think the beauty of it is that it's not. There's not much error. There's not much room for error. I think because you've got your 90 degrees, you've got your wall thicknesses. It's all there and available, and I mean having the opportunity to be able to do it yourself if you really wanted to, or you have your team. Like at the moment there's a big thing and a big push, I guess, for the owner builder situation. I mean, this gives them an opportunity to do that as well. So I mean in terms of I guess investment properties and granny flats and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's going to sell itself, right? Particularly for the granny flats, particularly for the quick throw up houses in the backyard and things like that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
I think it's amazing. So I guess what's the next step for you in Gablok, and how do you see yourself, I guess, evolving the business in the next, I guess 12 months?
Yeah, so the dream status, like you said, is I've gone through such a range of designer developers, builders developers that have that price metric for a single story, three bedroom is around, I think the best I've seen from one of the competitors is about 280,000 that you can buy, but that's the whole house finished. I don't know if that includes like an oven and a fridge. I'm not too sure.
That also sounds like a granny flat. It's not a 450 square meter house.
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is be 100% competitive in each market bracket of house. So if it was just a cost affordable housing, in the 80 square meter to 100 square meter, like you're saying, like a granny flat, we've got like a design for an apex barn roof that looks super elegant. And then naturally we try to do everything with 3 meter ceilings to give it that a justification on height, and like, at the end of the day it's cheap, so why not go up like an extra 300 millimeters instead of stopping at 270, or go up a little bit higher. But the evolution for each bracket of house, I'm hoping that people will start using the online system so they can literally scaffold out a wireframe house. They can understand the costs pretty much instantly. And they can log in and use this system, relatively quickly in the next couple of months. And they can design the house, see the house, roughly visualize their house using artificial intelligence or LLM models. And my next bracket is using BMI motion tools, which is, if somebody wants a chair, or they want these taps, or they want that bath, that will do all the leg room to find out where those items are. And then it will be offered in a library, so they can kind of almost start to fill up the house with the furniture that they want. And the idea is to really drive through that whole complexity of when somebody goes, I would like a house. So what do we do next?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I know now because I've taught myself and it's been like such a headache. But what I started to notice is when people go, I know you're going to need a shadow plan, or you're going to need a town planner, or you need a quantity surveyor. And I'm like, okay. And you go, and you know, your lint and your top rails and your gut. I'm like, wait, it sounds like he's talking code. You know, because when I talk to people about code, they're like, so you said HTML, JavaScript, and something else, and SQL and Workbench. It's like, okay. So in a sense, the platform we've built can guide anyone from literally knowing nothing, zero, all the way through to full DA submissions and plans with all the architectural drawings and engineerings and schematics. So
with the products as well, like if they're doing their furnishings and things like that, you could, wherever you're getting the CAD products to put into your program, they would also come with a cost. Like you would also be able to you'd also be able to put the the value of almost the entire build. I would dare argue, but you would be able to have a almost a finished quote minus the labor at the end of what, an hour or two mucking around with the computer.
In dream status, I don't want to jump the gun. Everything that we have now is pretty flexible and working. And I would call it as a above novice intermediate delivery of a house. And like you said, the innovations and moving to the future is to have it all composited perfectly. So anyone understands. And what I'm really trying to do with Gablok is not take anyone's job, that it is just another tool. So, you know, brickies in the industry, if someone wants a brick house, there's a brick house. You just have a brick house. If somebody wants a timber house, then maybe they might go, oh, instead of timber, I could use Gablok for you because it has these other beautiful narratives. Like we were talking earlier about the thermodynamics, not having to have aircon reduces the whole entire economical price of heating the house or keeping the house cool through a year, which has exponential savings. You know, on big houses, people will know, like, your aircon bill could probably be like, you know, $18,000 or $15,000 through the course of a year. With a Gablok house, that's out the door. You know, so in the future, it's showing that in a much more perfect manner for everyone to understand, like Lego. You know, so they can go there, like yourself, you know, you can go, oh, I could use this here, or I could use that there.
It's another design product. It's a design product. It's a material that we can potentially use. I mean, it's pretty versatile. From what I've read and what we've spoken about. I mean, you can clad it, you can render it, you can build on the outside of it. There's a whole thing, like a whole plethora of things that we can actually include into the design of the space. And because I know over in Europe it gets used over there. It's been approved and ticked, and they're all doing that now. So I guess like when we get like something tangible and available to our market, then that's 100% something that we will no doubt try and push and pull it and break it as much as we possibly can. And then I think we'll really find out how much, I guess, we can use it as in terms of a designing product and plus a material product. I think there's such a market here. Like throughout the entire podcast at the moment, we're talking about, you know, the serviceability, how much everything's going to cost. You know, the cost shock is always an issue. And I mean, if we can identify or even smooth out the process of even that design or even that potential end game of construction, you're knocking out a lot of those problems. Everybody who's going to pick up this product and is going to go, righto, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to nail this 450 square meter place for $300,000 plus an extra couple of bucks for my furnishings. At the end of the day, they whatever that cost is at the start in terms of the planning and all of the, you know, all of the reports and the bits and pieces that they have to be aware of, $350,000 for what is considered, even in Australia, a very substantial size house is you can't beat it. Like it's such a good product to try and build on and save money.
Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth. That's like what we've been really trying to engineer. So going around Boral and loads of other coastal towns that have almost been forgotten. And you might not hear my accent, but I'm from London. So it's like, there's nowhere for a house around London. It's like there's nowhere a house at Southend either, or Brighton. But here, what I've noticed is there's these gems of land where you can pick them up, not like super cheap, but, or I say not super cheap, it's super cheap compared to anywhere else. It's like you can buy 1,500 square meters with an ocean view for like $300,000. And I'm like,
in Australia?
Yeah.
You have to show me that block.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I've been on another channel kind of hunting them down. Not when I say ocean view, you're not on the beach.
Yeah.
Maybe it's slightly raised, but the one that I remember, I've forgotten the town now. No, it wasn't Russellville. That's another build. I will send it to you.
Yeah.
But what I was talking to my friend about is like, hey, well, we could just like build like a James Bond house. And it's got like ocean views.
Yeah.
And then he's like, how difficult is it to dig a pool?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, how deep do we want it? I was like, go down like 1.5 meters and dig it 20 meters long. It's like, there we go. So where the mind wanders, we can definitely accommodate.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so when I guess when there's a benefit for rural design because delivering is going to be super cheap and super easier. And then I guess the trades in getting them out to like these rural spaces and places where people need their housing, I guess is going to be a lot more accessible and achievable. I think this is a great product. I think.
You want to hear the nutty thing? We were just looking at one of those Medivac drones that carry people. I was like, okay, well, average person, let's call it 85 kilos. That's more than a pallet of Gablok.
Yeah, wow.
So we can drone like
a few pallets over.
Yeah, so if there's difficulty, it's like, okay, check out aerospace. We get a drone shifting a pallet. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. So, do you see any kind of insurance issues or anything that comes with the product? Do you foresee anything that's kind of? We're talking about all the great stuff. I see all the great stuff. I'm having a hard time trying to find the bad stuff. There are a few things about fire.
I reckon there's like a ton of bad stuff in the whole entire scope of things. Like really, Gablok lends itself to 90 degrees. So if you're okay with 90 degrees, or should I say, then you bolt on a super trained carpenter to give you those added bevels or fixtures and fittings that you really want, and then realistically, I reckon if you come to do an extension, whereas if you have a brick wall, you can, angle grind down, prop it up and stick in whatever you got. I've kind of looked at this and gone, okay, so if I want an extension, I've got to pop out some bricks. I've got to raise the lip of the roof to take out the bricks. And, those things started to go around my mind where I'm like, yeah, extensions is not going to be fun because you couldn't just chop through the wall because it's only get it polystyrene bubbles everywhere.
Yeah.
You probably could, but then those blocks are going to be obsolete and those bits will fall out.
Can you connect the Gablok system to like the standard products? Like if you have that brick wall, is there a way that you connect the blocks to that existing brick wall, I suppose, and I guess timber framing systems?
Yeah, so from my knowledge in Europe, we just did exactly the same, which we have done, which is, people have done brick builds, and instead of having the timber on the inside, the super old class buildings that I've done, which are brickworks, your exterior bricks are your small red clay bricks, and then your inside was your Bezier brick and then your timber frame. So in a sense, if you just take out the timber frame and you're using Gablok, and then really to push it that far, if you were doing cost savings, you could do outside red brick, and then you don't need your Besser brick or your timber. You could just use Gablok. And then if you take it even further, you just take out your red brick, and you just have Gablok. Then you're wrapping it whatever you want. You know, the one thing that people have asked is like, oh, I want to render it. And obviously, but what my learnings of just picking all of that up is, you know, with the beading on the outside of the sheet, that once you put the weatherboard on, you're going to be rendering over the weatherboard. So I don't personally perceive that would be perfect for if it gets trapped dampness. It shouldn't, but I think it could probably not lend itself perfectly to that.
Yeah, so the way that we grow is we've got to make sure that we fix our issues, right? And I think you're right. I think weather, like your weather tightness is probably going to be a thing that we I guess will evolve, and I guess we'll research and build on. And I guess this is why you get your code marks and your checks and your bits and pieces, because once you get the tick of approval, away we go. We can start mucking around with like all the nitty gritty stuff, which is going to be great.
Oh, one thing to mention, like you said, it does not lend itself above 2 stories. So ground and first, or if you're, I guess in the Americas they do first and second. So that's perfect Gablok territory. Third story, as in, okay, you could probably convert a loft, have a loft room, but you would never then go to the third story. And we don't have any of our testing for that capability yet. What I have done is I've been looking at another system called System 3E, which is a interlocking blocking system, but they're 35 kilos per block. Great for ground floor garages and extended rooms and stuff,
and bases and things.
Yeah. And we can put Gablok on top of that. So if you needed that extra height, those 2 brands, I'm just working on a partnership at the moment. I can see being super valuable for people in flood areas that can't get insurance. Because of the water table level, and that whatever last time it went up 0.15 meters and incinerated their house full of water, can't get insurance. But what I did with is it QBR, the insurance company,
something like that?
QBE. I got on a call with someone and said, so I don't know what the rules and regulations are, so I just asked. I said, if I raise my house by 3 meters, I'm no longer in the flood zone. They're like, yep. Okay, does that mean I get insured? They're like, yep. So I started to think of all of these issues that I could remove. It's like, okay, so people can't get their house insured because they live in a flood zone, but if I raise the house high enough out of the flood zone, because it's the level of the water table, apparently.
I
was like, okay.
house becomes a boat.
Yeah.
But so I guess your first level would have to be a strong structure. Your ground floor would be a strong structure. Your first and potentially your second or your third, depending on who you're asking, could potentially be the Gablok system. Is it simply because of a height situation, or is it because of obviously the wind load rating and all the bits and pieces that goes further up? Is it a system where you could potentially use like a bearers and joist system and build on top of it rather than rely on the blocks underneath the Gablok? Like, I guess is there a rule against how high the Gablok system can go, or is it how much a Gablok system can stack?
Yeah, so there's quite a few questions in there technically. So, so for its transferal weight and load, the base blocks and sequentially stacking lends itself to, I can't remember the exact cubic value or ton per ratio, but when it hits 9 meters, the base blocks become fragile because their, I guess, binding element, which would be screws and glued together, the downward pressure once first floor LVRs, and then second floor LVRs, and then the roof, that one straight down pressure, in theory, breaks the bottom block just to its down value. But I've asked Gablok if they would like to re-evaluate that setup with 24 millimeter OSB and slightly longer screws, so you can imagine the load and balance on the blocks now is more transferable against such a shear of 24 millimeter boards stacked on top of each other instead of 18.
Now I'm gonna get a little bit, I guess probably a little bit too technical. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions. So I guess if is this the 9 meters of Gablok without the weight of the floor and all of the furnishings in that floor? Are we taking into account that, like, the full floor plan on top of these blocks?
Yeah, that's the full floor plan. So if it was everything in there, so if you're having a wooden floor and base and carpet with bed and built-in wardrobes, and maybe that side has a stacked bathroom, I don't know the actual test regime, but I assume that they probably mounted, a 2 cubic ton of bath water to give that vertical down pressure. And in a sense, I just think when they've gone to that third story, it doesn't stack up. And then if you think of that with the like a wind fascia, and the overhang of a roof, I don't think it stacks up quite well. Whereas if we're using something like the solid base system 3, then you've naturally gone up 2.7 or 3 meters in those blocks. So you're now suspended concrete floor or whatever. I forget the name. You probably know.
Bears and joists. So,
with those
timber flooring. Yeah.
From there, you're good to go.
Right.
Ground and first again.
Yeah, right.
First and second.
Yeah, wow. So there's so much about this product, and quite honestly, I can't wait to kind of watch it evolve and unfold, and I'm excited to be a part of it and at least give you a hand where I can.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, mate, I'll book you in to come in and have a chat with me again in 6 to 8 months, and we'll have a talk about it, see how far you got, and at least keep an eye on that code mark, and I guess what it's going to do for the industry, because I think it's a fantastic step in the right direction. So just for fun, I'll ask you a quick couple of questions. Don't think about them too much, and at the end of the day, I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's going to be fun. It's honestly, it's been a hard slog to get it to here. You can imagine, like, I code for like banking systems, and now I'm digging holes with a spade, and I'm like, okay, 20 tons of soil just got moved.
And you're playing with Lego.
I'm playing with Lego.
Yeah. On traditional build sites, how much? There's always wastage. There's always rubbish. How much waste would Gablok have?
Realistically, none.
None.
On site.
Yeah.
In the warehouse, maybe quite a bit. I don't know. Like when you're sawing everything down and you get everything stuck to a plate, there should actually be less waste. I was just working with Reg on the full ecosystem where we're going to take recycled timber. So there's just like a big heap of it, and we're going to get that steam pressed. Not so much for the OSB board manufacturing, because that's still coming out of Germany. But the innovation type point of what I forgot to mention when you asked, instead of using polyurethane on the inside, we're going to use a different material for the inside grey blocks, and that's coming from the recycled timber. So it's kind of a mix of cement and I guess the recycled timber. But that gives the blocks a lot heavier weight. And this is also up to the user. Like, they could just have the standard polyurethane blocks. That's, it's great and it works. But maybe somebody lives in a full fire hazard. It's worth us executing those other blocks that can go in there, because there's no way your house is going to fall down. And it's not even going to burn through it. It would just be like a standard brick house. So all the wood will be gone, but you're going to have blocks everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the most any builder would expect to lift at any one time while on site?
Like, I think like 8 kilos, 7 kilos.
Just
Oh no, actually, the LVL, when that goes in place, that's going to be pretty heavy, like the floor bracing. But I reckon, two people can. I don't reckon they're more than 60 kilos. So 2 people should be able to log one of those. I mean, I say that was just one of the ones that we made that was over 8 meters, and we did it to look at the bracing over 8 meters to see how heavy it was going to be. But I don't think there's very many rooms that are 8 meters in width that don't have a bracing wall or something there to help it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if one of your pallets are less than 80 kilos, a couple of boys can carry them all over sites.
You'll be throwing them to each other.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. So Australian country, we've got 40 degree heats in the last couple of weeks. Is Gablok going to be a sauna, or is it going to be a bit of a sanctuary?
No, it's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to keep everything out. And I just to highlight there, that's as long as you don't use the beautiful James Harding matte black cladding, because you are kind of building a microwave.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's part of the rules now. We're not allowed to do black steel cladding anymore. So, it's frowned upon. But yeah. So
at least give it a colour that reflects.
That's right. Termites, another massive Australian issue. How tasty are these blocks to termites?
So I can only go with the stats, because I've not seen too much termite damage here after any wood's been treated. But the OSB board has been so heavily treated that it's kind of almost not wood. It's like 18 millimeter. You can flex it, like fully flex it, and it doesn't snap. It's like almost like a plastic, to be honest. So we've only seen that never be eaten. So I can only classify that they don't even like it. They go after something else.
So, okay, we've got the 40 degree heats in Australia. We've got the windy north coast. How well do they step up to I guess the cyclone country up north and I guess blizzard country down south?
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of a story when I was in Brisbane. And I was living in Brisbane, and a load of my mates commute from the Gold Coast up. And obviously it was pretty windy in Brisbane. Not as windy as just like, I don't know, I forget the name, but we're talking like half an hour's drive south of Brisbane. And they got hit like massively by one of the cyclones. It was like totally obliterated houses, literally matchsticks just all over the place. So in that sense, I don't think the Gablok house is going to do much more than that. It's just going to turn into matchsticks.
Yeah.
But we did go over a pretty extensive lockdown for the roof. And we were talking about, if you did live in a very, very prone high windy area, there's a way that we can obviously, because the blocks have a polyurethane membrane inside, we can place bolt all the way through from the roof, pinning it to the concrete slab. And whatever bracing you want, that's just like another cost issue. It's like, if you really wanted to make sure that your house is going to be solid and the roof's not going to rip up, we can bolt it to the concrete slab. And this is what the greatest thing is about Gablok. When we start getting these curveballs of like, okay, it's 120 kilometers an hour wind, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. I think the house is gone because the car just flew off.
Yeah. Do you think? Like? I mean, can you run Rio through the center of them? Like, is there a possibility that there is eventually some sort of tie down or some sort of bracing system that we could potentially just install down through the center of the blocks and potentially even, I guess, just set them in the concrete?
Yeah, totally. Like, I can't remember the child's game where you throw hoops and it's like a hoop and it spins down the pole.
Yeah.
But imagine that. I mean, at the end of the day, the polyurethane is just a mold. We make a cube. We just put a bead through the middle. It's like, okay, you'll be standing there
sliding down,
trying to who can hoop shot a Gablok cube onto a pole.
Yeah. Well, I think that's almost going to fix most issues. I think. All right. Well, the next, I guess, lastly, in the next 20 years, do you see Gablok as being just a distant experiment memory, or do you see that this is probably the future and the way to build houses moving forward?
Don't get me wrong, I love brick houses. Like one of my best friends used to live in a beautiful farmhouse in Essex. It was such a beautiful house with beautiful windows. Everything was wood in the windows, and everything. It was just like a full project. I don't think you can get away from that real detail. Like, I think everything that we do today is being cost affordable, speed and agility to just get a roof over your head, and in that sense, I see it, gravitating, lots of people just shifting over to Gablok, because at the end of the day, the skills and the trade will slowly be lost, which is a sad fact of, I think, our life. As we go through, the skills and teachings aren't being passed on quite as readily as we would like. So in that sense, it's a great success moment for Gablok, because it will be swapped out in a slight transition, and that people will gravitate to it because of all of the qualities that we've spoken about today. Beyond 10 years, wow, like, I don't know, I love Blade Runner, so I'm waiting for flying cars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll definitely have 3-story houses by then, and if you can throw up a house in a week, what can you? There's so much you can do in 10 years. So, look, I'm really excited for this. I can't wait to see what you guys do, and keep me posted.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it.
Cheers.
All right, there you go, guys. Any questions, please feel free to reach out. Hit us up with the emails, or even feel free to reach out at James at Gablok.
Yep.
All right. Cheers, mate.
Welcome. Cheers.
Catch up. Thanks for listening to this week's app of The Lounge. To make sure you don't miss out on the next episode, hit subscribe. We'd love to get the message out to more homeowners like you. Make sure you leave a rating and a review, and we'll see you on the next app.